What's going on, everybody? This is the No BS Fitness Prescription Podcast. I am Dominic Frazier, and this is my beautiful host and co-partner, Keyonni Adams.
And this is where we are breaking down facts and fallacies from an unhinged perspective because I'm unhinged and Dominic is even more unhinged. So this is going to be a good time. Dominic, tell them why we started this podcast.
We started this podcast basically because I have my own podcast. I've been on many other podcasts, but as a collective, there just isn't much out there. For one, in the standpoint of two fitness professionals of color doing something together like this, we get to see all of the other ones, which of course are great. But I definitely wanted to help create something also for other men, women, boys, and girls that look just like me, especially for younger trainers, coaches, fitness professionals, and things like that want to get into this field in this space and are looking for more direction and a guiding light. What about you?
Yeah, so pretty much same. And I think a big thing for me is everybody nowadays has a mic. They have an opinion, but they don't have they don't have, I would say, like, not even the knowledge. People do have knowledge. I just think they don't have the extensive knowledge to actually help all types of people be able to reach their fitness goals because they're just going based on personal experience. So in 2025, there's tons of information out there for people to have access to, but I think it lacks a lot of nuance. And I think when you can combine your knowledge with another professional, I think you can deliver a lot more context than that's shown in like the 30-second reels or 2-minute reels that you see on Instagram. So I think this is an opportunity for us to help empower people with the right tools to make educated decisions on their health and their fitness. So that's why I wanted to do that, because I do have, like you said, my own podcast for women specifically, but I think partnering with you, I think we can deliver a lot more quality information, whether it's from the rehab side of things with me, and then you also do things like that, and then also you really helping people with their performance. So I think there's a lot of information that we can give that isn't being provided in our social media right now.
Most definitely. I really biggest thing that you pointed out was like just providing that value and being one of those sources where people can look at us and be like, yo, those two really cut through the bullshit. Like they're gonna get you from A to B faster than you thought you could get to without having to, spin your brain going to this person and that person, trying this tea or this wrap, doing all these things and then coming back and just being like, hey, can you help me? We always could help you. It's, are you really willing to do the work, put in the work to truly help yourself, right? People, I always joke with some of my clients and my ladies, and I tell them, like, people look at me in social media and some of how I post and how I respond, and people are like, oh, you're so mean. I'm really not. I'm just blunt because everybody else is gonna bullshit you. So I'm just like, I'm gonna skip through all of that. And if it's a fact, we're gonna keep it a fact. And if we want to have fun with it, we can have fun with it. But the biggest thing you got to do is get out of your own way and let somebody that knows more than you get you to where you're trying to be. And we can have fun all while we do it. I tell people, like, I'm really like a big teddy bear. I want to see the best in everybody. But we can't fast and drink watermelon. Let me stop. What's our first topic?
I hate watermelon, by the way. I might get my black card revoked.
I like it. I do like it, but
I hate watermelon.
come on now. Like, I wonder what's going to be the fruit for this upcoming summer. I really do.
Blueberries all year.
You're right.
Blueberries, bananas, peaches.
But somebody's going to make a detox. Somebody's going to make a detox out of it.
I ain't doing that. But first topic goes based on, it kind of piggybacks off what you were saying. I think when people ask questions, and this is something I've been talking about a lot lately, when people ask questions, I think they want help, but they're not asking the right types of questions. You know, you and I are both in a lot of these Facebook groups on here, and you see the types of questions people are asking, and it's very vague. And I think with that, you open yourself up to so many different answers that may not be right for you. So, for example, if you're saying you have been eating clean, this is a common thing. I've been eating clean. I've been working out consistently. I've been tracking my protein, but I haven't been losing weight. It's like, what have you been doing for a workout? What does eating clean mean? Because you can eat clean, but you can still be overeating, and that can be the reason you're not losing weight. So I think a lot of times people are asking questions, but they're not asking the right questions, and they wonder why they're not getting the right type of advice or the right answer. So I think in order for people to get the right guidance, they need to talk about the right things or ask the right things, which on this podcast, I think given the insight that we're going to give, I think it'll kind of force people to ask the right questions or learn how to ask the right questions to get the answers they're looking for.
Right. And also asking better questions. That's the biggest thing that you said. Like, so many people want to say eat clean. Love the term, but then don't love it, because that varies per person. Like, what is, first and foremost, what's your lifestyle like? Because your eat clean can be different from mine. Like, if, like how we just spoke, right? We love ground beef, right? So we're doing the whole ground beef bowls, this, that, and the third all the time, right? Because it's an easy way to, of course, get your protein in, right? But even with that, per person, you can eat too much of a thing and grow an intolerance, right? I went through that with ground turkey to a point where I wasn't digesting it well because I was eating so much of it. But then people will ask, well, I don't like ground turkey. Well, then if you don't like ground turkey, the answer is quite obvious. Don't eat ground turkey. Or if you don't like ground beef, don't eat that, right? But to us, that's clean, right? That's what we like for our palate, But somebody may say, oh, well, I eat clean because I eat a lot of broccoli and things like that. Broccoli can also cause, gastric issues and things like that. So a lot of people don't look at things like, oh, well, maybe I'm eating too much of these things, right? Because I'm not digesting them. I have, issues with bowel movements and stomach issues and things like that. Like, there's more to it than just saying, oh, I eat clean, and like you said, at the end of the day, right, if you're not losing weight, you're not in a deficit. There's no other way around that. People want to make ways around that because they have emotional attachments to being stuck in a place that they're in. Now, we're not talking about hormonal implications as far as testosterone or estrogen or perimenopause and things like that. Yes, those things do affect you, but they don't stop you from getting your results. And like we said prior, a lot of people are okay with being stuck because they don't have to face that reality truly, because it's going to take time. There's not a 30-day pill out there. There's not a 30-day detox or things like that. So that's where a lot of people struggle with their whys and getting the results that they want. And our whole goal with this podcast is to help you guys streamline it, to make it way easier for you. So you're not, waiting till summertime again saying, oh, I got to lose the same 15 pounds that I needed to lose last year.
Yeah, something I wanted to bring up with the whole hormonal thing. I understand the hormonal aspect of things, but I think what people don't realize is everything still comes back down to physiological principles. Like, if you want to lose fat, you're going to have to be in some type of energy deficit. But if you are in menopause or close to menopause, or your body just went through that, you may have issues that prevent you from getting into a deficit. It's not the fact that a deficit doesn't work for you. It's the fact that you have things, your hormonal levels, whether it's estrogen, cortisol, you may not be responding well to the type of training you're doing because you're training too intensely, and that's going to impact your hormonal levels, which is going to impact your ability to get into a deficit. So people think that they can't get into a deficit, but really the true thing is You just have things that are preventing you from doing so. It's not that it doesn't work for you. So this is where you get the whole idea of, oh, I'm in menopause and I can't lose fat because of my hormones. It's like, no, you have to straighten that out so you can be in a deficit. It's not that a deficit isn't
And
working.
to piggyback off of what you said there, because I do a lot of what is called like stress reduced fat loss, working on, you know, optimization of hormones and things like that. What you said was perfect, and a lot of people, they don't understand it. Like how you said, hey, if I'm stuck with my menopause or my hormones, I have to fix that first. So yes, your end game may be, hey, I want to lose fat, right? And you may say, hey, I need to lose this fat in 12 weeks. Well, the first 12 weeks or 16 or however many is going to be working on your recovery, your sleep, right? Your food intake, right? So we can optimize your hormones for where you are now, because you can't put stress on top of stress and dysfunction on top of dysfunction. And that's what a lot of people aren't understanding, because everybody's so quick to be, oh, just go into a calorie deficit. But nobody talks about, what if you're not ready to be in that calorie deficit? Because you can only go so low before your body stops everything.
Yeah, and I think
So no, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say you have to be ready to be in a deficit. Like your body has to be at a certain point. But I also think before you even do that, we have to gain like a certain baseline level. If we have no data on what you're currently doing, it's hard to make changes. So I think people are saying these vague things like, I'm eating clean, I'm working out, I'm getting 7 hours, 8 hours of sleep, but we're not getting into like the nitty gritty details that allows us to decide if we're ready to get into a deficit or not. So I think when people are asking questions online, they're giving the vague information, they're getting vague results. I mean, vague answers, and then they don't know where to go. And I think if people just develop a baseline of data and be like, hey, this is what I've been doing, they'll get more information. But nobody wants to go through the process of tracking, being very nuanced with their training. And I think once you get over whatever feeling it elicits when you have to do that, I think that's when people really start to see the results that they're looking for. I think you have to be ready to like dive deep and track some stuff.
100%.
To get the data.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we track everything else. So I don't necessarily get why it's so hard for people to track their workouts, to track their food. Like, we're on our phones a lot. Use an app or put it in your notes. Really see what you're doing. Like, you can make your life so much easier. And then, of course, you have the people that say, oh, well, I go off a feeling and I do it intuitively. Well, you can't do that until you've actually tracked it, because you don't know.
Like, your intuition is rigged right now because you don't have an intuition, because you don't have any data to pull from. And then also, if you're going based on intuition is such a personal thing that you're asking somebody to help you with your intuition. How am I going to help you when intuition is personal? You know what I mean? So it's like a double-edged sword. You can't be intuitive and then also ask somebody to help you.
Right.
Like, if you're intuitive, then just go based on how you feel and it'll work out.
And then if you ask for that help, you have to be open enough and receptive to taking the help. You're probably going to hear some things that are going to be uncomfortable, but that's you getting out of your own way to get to where you want to get to, because you're the one struggling, not us in that aspect.
Yeah, so I think people just have to be ready for support, the support that they're asking for, or just be open to hearing things that you may not know you need to hear. Not saying you need to take disrespect from people, but a lot of times we see, like in these online forums, people just gravitate towards the answer that feels comfortable, not the answer that's best for them.
100%.
Another thing that I wanted to touch on was the whole cardio versus conditioning thing. I think people are on either end of the spectrum. Like, some people are like so anti-cardio, and then people are anti-lifting. So what are your thoughts on that and the difference between like general movement and cardio versus cardio and conditioning?
I was going to ask you that first, but I'll go. like I had said earlier, let me get my words right. We are, as a society, we are so deconditioned, right? That we are conditioned to think that, oh, I went on a 20-minute walk, I'm working out. No, that's like baseline movement. Like, don't count that towards a workout. Count that as your everyday movement that you should be doing. Like, yes, we know that the 10,000 step rule is now more so like 8,000 to 15. Your average person is doing 7. Those are what the new studies are showing. But it's also showing that right now, the average person does not move enough, right? So a lot of my clients, I tell them that lowest hanging fruit is you moving. So before, right, in the past, it used to matter. It used to be like, oh, get your 10,000 steps in, but while you're working out, those steps don't count, right? Because now you have non-exercise activity thermogenesis with activity thermogenesis. Two different things, but we're now at a place where it doesn't really fucking matter. You need to just move because the obesity rate's going up. It's not a made-up thing. The numbers are going up. So due to the lack of movement, I don't care what you do, but you need to move more, right? And here's where people got to take their emotion out of it. You go to the gym for 2 hours a day or whatever. Most people bullshitting in that time. So you do that 7 days a week. That's 14 hours. You're still a sedentary individual. Because out of each day, what are you doing the other 23 hours? Oh, you work from home. You probably sit at a desk. You work in an office. You probably sit at a desk. And that's okay to be a sedentary individual because majority of us are, even us trainers and coaches. If we're not training or coaching or moving on the floor, we're sedentary. But we have the mindset to push that needle, right? Which great ways to do that are after each meal, go for a 10-minute walk, right? Which helps with digestion, insulin levels, cortisol levels, things like that. Like so many people want to be right when it comes to the cardio aspect, but right now people just need to move more. A lot of people are just overweight, fat, out of shape because they don't move enough.
The F word.
Sorry.
I'm just kidding.
Right. But it's true. Like I've been there when I've had other jobs not in training, and I've like, oh, yo, you got to step it up. You got to move more. You know, and it's like there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being a sedentary individual, but you can't think you're something that you're not. Right? Just because like everybody use steps as gamification, but why is that? Because most people don't move enough. If you already did that as a basis, you wouldn't tell the world, oh, I got 10,000 steps a day, or I got 20,000, or you wouldn't be alarmed when you go on vacation and walk a lot that you didn't gain weight because you went overseas and stuff. Because that would be your norm. We're talking about walking. It's like how Allen Iverson said, practice. We're not even talking about working out. We're talking about walking. Now people want to battle. Oh, do I walk on the treadmill on an incline or do I walk outside? Doesn't really matter right now. You got other more important things to worry about. Because you're huffing and puffing going up the stairs and you worried about 3:30? Come on. And then we have a oversimplification right now of the cardio zones. Right now, everybody's in zone 2. Great, because that's your baseline. That's where you need to be. But most people aren't even doing zone 2 correctly. And then they're scared to do the other zones because now you got to work. Zone 3s and zone 4s, I'm pretty sure most decas, most high roxes, for the people that do their hit every day out of the week, those are zones that are hard to come back from. But most people just don't do the basics. You have your cardio, which is what we're talking about, like your zone 1s and zone 2s that should be done pretty much every day. And then you have different levels of conditioning, right? Your zone 2, 3s, 4s, and 5s, right? I'm not going to get all scientific, but you have your anaerobic glycolytic, you know, your you have anaerobic conditioning, you have lactic threshold. If you want to keep it simple, you have 10-second sprints, 20-second sprints, 30-second sprints, right? But most people don't even understand the difference between a sprint and a jog. Because I've always put it out there, oh, you want to get in shape fast? 2 times a week, go run 6 90% 400s. Everybody's like, why would I do that? Why would you not? You don't really want to get in shape. If you don't know what it feels like to run a 400, you don't really want to get in shape. Or go do a 10,000 meter row. Why would I do that? Challenge yourself. You know, like you just did your DECA thing the other day. What zones were you in primarily?
4.
Now,
4 or 5.
Suffering is kind of fun to us, right? It's a little.
I hated it.
A little different, little, you know, but people can, with the right programming, people can sprinkle those things. Like people want to feel like they're working out. So they want to do those higher zones of work capacity, but they're not ready. Like if you really want to do those things, take a good 8 weeks doing work capacity at zone 2. But each week you're progressing, right? You may stay, you know, it may be 20 minutes, then 25, then 30, right? Then once we've mastered that, then we change the incline up or we change the tool, right? Because 30 minutes on the Stairmaster and then 30 minutes on an arc trainer, those are 2 different tools. You know, so you can do it that way. Then once you have some aerobic base, now we can add in some, you know, what I call from the OPEX method, your map 10s, right? Which is your zone 1 and 2. But then you have your map 1s and things like that, where it is like, okay, we've got 6 rounds of 20-second sprints. But in that, after the 20 seconds, we're doubling our rest so we can come back completely rested and do it again, right? Everybody's doing, oh, I'm doing a Tabata. You did a 45-minute, no, you did aerobic work. Tabata is 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, done on a bike or something extremely hard that's in a cyclical motion for 8 minutes, not 45. That's aerobic. Like, people want to put their own twist on things, and then going into what I was going to go into was the whole I know my body thing. That's the same. It's the same thing. Do you know your body? So why is your body where it's at right now? Why, you know, like I'm not walking around here shredded or 6-packed up or nothing like that, but I get blood work. I do the work day in and day out to know where and why I'm at. If you're struggling and you already have the answers, why aren't you getting to where you want to get to? Because you have an emotional attachment to not going and looking in the mirror and then really doing the work. But everybody knows hey, I know my body, or at least I'm doing something. We could say at least I'm doing something, but then don't come back later and say, well, I did this and this didn't work, or I did this and I did all these things and I'm now doing keto, paleo, carnivore all at once. But you won't track your food? You won't drink enough water? You won't get 8 hours of sleep? It confuses me, but everybody know their body.
I think the biggest thing that people can do is to like nail the basics. I think most people would see the changes that they want to see, whether it's in their physique, lab values, stamina, strength, whatever physical attribute or whatever your goal is. I think people would see a lot more progress if they just honed in on the basics. Basics meaning like gaining awareness of what you're eating, like tracking for like a month. I think that'll like be very eye-opening for most people. And then based on that data, they'll be able to decide if they need to change their eating to whatever, lose fat or put on some weight, whatever it is. Because some people don't know that they're overeating and they're trying to lose weight. And then people who are trying to gain weight, they don't know that they're under eating. So that'll give you that data. Hydration, so drinking enough water. Protein intake, that's going to be crucial, whatever your goal is, just for general health. Hitting all muscle groups twice a week. Hitting a step count, that's like bare minimum. I think if people were to do that, I think that'll set them up to do the more advanced things that you're talking about.
So let me ask you, why do you think it's so hard for people to do those basics? Like, why is there so much pushback when we say, when we as coaches, yeah.
It sounds like, oh, that's it. That's all I got to do. It's like, oh, I'd rather do that flashy shit I see online. I'd rather do a squat with the overhead press and a bicep curl in one movement because it looks flashy. And I just saw a post today. It was like, the least effective exercise is the one that looks the fanciest. And it's true. It's so true. And I think people want to feel like they are working hard. So that's why you got people doing HIIT multiple times a week. But you're not realizing that in order to effectively do those things, you have to have a general level of preparedness. And if you don't, that's when you run into injuries. And then also, if you're in that category of like you're getting older, hitting menopause, or going through any age-related changes, they're going to notice that those same exercises that you think are hard for you and are helpful. Yes, they're hard, but they may be working against you because you're not ready for them or you're not programming them the right way. So I think the biggest thing that people can do is really hone in on the basics. Like, we know we have to do cardio and get your heart rate up, but there's no point in doing a ton of HIIT stuff when you're also not doing the rest of the work. So at least with my clients, I have them hit all the basics before we start adding on more. So people are like, oh, shouldn't I have a more intense cardio day? You should, but you also should do this first.
Right.
You know, we're getting to that. Like, people try to throw everything in a pot and be like, oh my God, it didn't come out the way I wanted it to. It's like, because you skipped the steps.
Yeah. Like, some of my clients, they'll message me and they'll be like, hey, I'm about to go do this workout, but I only slept 3 hours. Nah, chill. Go home and go to sleep. That you're going to hurt yourself by not getting the sleep that you need. And you're thinking of today when I'm thinking of, okay, 2 weeks down the road, you tweaked your shoulder. Well, 2 weeks prior, you weren't sleeping. You were stressed. You had relationship issues, job issues, things like that. All of that plays a role on the body, right? Plays a role on the ligaments, the tendons, the fascia, all the things that I don't want to say regular people, but most people don't think of. Like you and I, we look at things through a different lens, right? It's like, what's the biggest response that I can get out of you with the minimal dose, which I know is going to propel you more forward.
Another thing that, like, the sleep thing is a big one, but also around this time, people are getting busy with different holiday festivities, whether it's like Friendsgiving or work stuff, and they end up missing workouts because their schedule is different from what it has been over the past couple of months, right? But then they miss a workout and they're like, oh, should I do double workouts? No, you just pick up where you left off. And then a year later, if you're actually consistent, your body's not even gonna know you missed a workout. Like, we don't have to, like, more is not better is what I'm trying to say. People think that doing more workouts in a day, even if they miss one, is going to be better than not doing it. But the way coaches program is meant to be done on a day-to-day basis, not taking all 3 workouts and putting it into one and be like, oh, I got 3 workouts during the week, but it was only one day. Like, that's the recipe. And then you're also not going to be able to perform the way you need to in order to get the results from that workout. So I think people should have more of the mindset of, hey, I just want to be consistent. Consistent isn't perfect. Consistency is like doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, and the results compound. But if you're going to gas yourself out by doing 3 workouts in a day, it kind of works against you. So I think that just goes back to keeping it simple, focusing on the basics. And once people can hone in on that, master that, then you can start moving into more advanced things. But I think people try to skip the simple things and go to the advanced stuff and realize that it doesn't work not because that's not effective, but because they skip the beginning part, the foundational part.
Yeah,
that
and
makes
then
it effective.
like you were saying, like most coaches, like that are higher level, especially if you look at sports performance and strength and conditioning, right? How you were talking about 2-a-days, right? When a coach programs a 2-a-day, they're programmed specifically from AM PM so they don't counter interfere with what was already done. Doesn't mean, oh, I just did squats, so I'm going to go do the same squat, same load again. Like everything is structured correctly so you can get the most adaptation that you need at that point. And then how you were saying, like the consistency, like I was in one of my precision nutrition level 2 classes, and that's exactly what they were talking about, walking the walk as a coach, but also as a client, saying that like we're not looking for perfection as a coach and as a client, but we're looking for that consistent perfection. Like, can you brush your teeth every day for the next 60 days? Right? That sounds easy, but now flip it around and do it with the opposite hand. Right? You're now taking, it sounds crazy, right?
No, you're just funny.
But you're taking on a new challenge. But it's still all about rebuilding the things that you haven't done. You know, it's as simple as, and it sounds crazy, but it's as simple as parking further away when you go to the grocery store. Look at how many people don't start there because we're so used to having convenience now. You know, so there's layers to it, but at the end of the day, it always comes down to the basics. We can talk about this. I was gonna say until we're gray, but I'm already there. But like, it comes down to the habits. Nothing more, nothing less. It's all about how you layer the habits. Same way for you with physical therapy. Somebody comes in with the ACL reconstruction, you're not squatting them on day one. You may be starting with a basic knee bend, you know, or some terminal knee extensions. But you know that if they're consistent with what they're doing, that they're going to layer correctly and get back to squatting.
That's the hard process, though. I think that's a hard process because everything nowadays is like you got Amazon Prime, you can get whatever you want by tomorrow. Like
Amazon Prime your body though.
Exactly. I think I posted that before. Yeah, so people
declined.
Huh?
I said card declined on that one.
Car is gonna be declined, definitely. Amazon's gonna revoke your subscription. People have a hard time working on one thing at a time, knowing that it's going to build to something bigger. And I think that's the problem with why people struggle to get to where they want to be, despite all of the information. Because we have all the information out there, but knowing how to put that into action at the right time and knowing when to move on to the next thing is what people struggle with. And I also think that like the stuff you see on social media is kind of deceiving because you'll see these transformation photos that do or do not have a timeline, and then they just list very vaguely what they did when it is so much more to that. Because if that's all we had to do, most people are working out. I wouldn't even say most people, but a lot of people who want certain goals, they're working out, but they're not working out in the way that they should be working out for their goal. And I think that when people post these things, people are like, oh, I just have to do that. And they end up like just rushing the whole process, not realizing that the picture you saw when you actually look behind the screen of the person that posted it, they went through a process.
Come on.
But none of that is depicted online. And then people get this false illusion of like what it takes to see progress. And I think that plays into people's psychological aspect, thinking that it's going to be easy.
That's why we separate the real from the fake.
I think it's good and it's bad. And I also think that coaches need to be more transparent about what people can actually achieve in a certain time frame, because 90 days sounds cool. I have a 90-day program, but if you want to lose 50 pounds, you're not doing that in 90 days.
Right.
You may look different, but you're not doing that in 90 days. Lifting weights, not focusing on lifting weights and cardio. You may do that with just cardio if you really push yourself and you starve yourself, but you're also not going to look the way you want to look. So I think there's a lack of transparency on the side of a lot of coaches, and I think that's what plays into people thinking certain things are going to work out for them, and then they're disappointed. So
Oh yeah, it's hard because we know that there are coaches. I don't even want to say coaches, but there are trainers and there are influencers and there are people out there that they pry on those that have that lack of knowledge. Like if I can do some angles and this, that, and the third, and I can tell you that you're going to do this in 12 weeks, you're going to be that gullible and believe it. But most of the real ones know, like what you're expecting to happen in 12 weeks is probably going to take you 6 months. That's just the truth. Unless, right, you're going to be 200% dialed in. That means your sleep, your training, your supplementation, your nutrition, everything. And most people aren't there, us included at times. It takes a lot. And I've done, NFL draft preps and combines where these kids had 8 weeks. They're doing everything you tell them. They've got their job on the line, so they're not going to slip up. Regular people, you're more, my girl going to the club, we turning up this weekend. Oh, well, you told me you wanted this. I asked you when we started, could you give up alcohol for 30 days? You said yes. The lie detector showed that was a lie. Like it's end of the day, people got to get out of their own way. And it's like we're nice about it because we do care, but it's like you got to want it more than we want it for you.
Yep.
And it still comes back to the basics. That's why I don't take on everybody. That's why I'm not a good fit for everybody. I try to run a nice ship, but a tight ship. I don't want to train you forever. My whole goal is to educate you, motivate, and inspire, meaning I want to teach you all the things that you don't know. I want to motivate you when you feel like you ain't got it in you. And I want to inspire you to take that out and inspire others through your new lifestyle and work ethic.
But also, I think that's good to have as a coach. And what I realized is when you give people like all of the tools that they need to succeed, you're teaching them along the way, and they're learning things from being in your program. Like they end up staying with you longer, anyways. Right? And then you got the people who, like program hop. They'll buy, let's say, $97 program or challenge. And then they do that, and then they just go and get another coach because they still haven't got the knowledge in order to continue. So it's like people think, or coaches think, that you need to like gatekeep information. But I think the more you can educate people, the more they're going to stay with you anyways, because they like the insights they get from you.
All the information is out there. There's nothing to gatekeep. It's how it's presented. You can go to ChatGPT all you want and you can get the best program out there, but you're not going to know how to apply it better than I'm going to be able to apply it for you. And that's the same for you. But it's also like you as a coach working with other women, right? I also primarily work with women unless it's athletes, but we're two different spectrums. But it's like you've built a community where these ladies, they've grown to trust you, right? So they feel a way, so they do stay with you longer because they believe in what you're showing them.
Yeah, and I think that's what people don't. I don't even want to say people. I think that's what some like people in the online space who are trying to help other people with their physique don't realize. It's like people aren't paying you for information. They can find it. Like people don't pay me for information.
Right.
They're paying me to help them execute. They're paying me to help them figure out how to apply this information to them. Like when They can't stick to their 5-day program. They're about to go away for 2 months on a business trip, and now they can only work out 3 times a week. Like, what do I do?
Right.
They can figure it out on their own if they really wanted to, but they don't want to do that because they're not. That's not their field. So I think it just goes both ways, and I feel like the more you can give somebody to enhance their training, it sounds crazy, but the longer they stay with you, they just want to be in your world. Like, at least that's what I've experienced. I work with people who don't really need my help. Like, that's something I struggle with at first. Like, I'm like, why are you paying me? Like,
Yep.
you're good by yourself. But it just says a lot about the person when they want to continue to learn more. And I think that's the people that get the best results, is the people who want to learn more. They're not just looking for a program, because you can find a program anywhere. They want to know like the details about that program.
Yep.
Which is what we don't get on social media. You just see somebody doing all these crazy exercises, and you slide through, and you're like, oh, I'm going to go do that. But you don't even know what the other 3 days of the week is supposed to look like in that program. So you're over here doing a random workout. It makes you feel like you're working hard, but you don't really know why you're doing it. So I think the why is what people really need to focus on, and I hope that's what we can provide people. The why.
Yeah, it's how do they say it? It's peeling back the onion. Right? Everybody gives you the onion. It's all the workouts that you see online, but it's like, we're going to peel back the who, what, and the why. You know, like, if this person is coming up, like, for instance, a lot of people post stuff in the groups that are in, oh, I messed up my shoulder. What are you guys doing to fix your shoulder? I can give you 8 exercises, but I don't know why you messed up your shoulder. I don't know how long you messed it up for. Right? I don't know where you're coming from and where you're trying to go, outside of saying you hurt your shoulder. What's your past, history and injury like? So I'm hoping that we can dive more into, showing people like, hey, you have this issue. Well, hey, this is where we would guide you until you can get back to you feeling like yourself. Doesn't mean stop going to the gym like a lot of people think. Right? Because you can work around a lot of things. So, yeah, we're just going to peel back the onion and give people all the answers to the test. You already have the answers. We're just going to give them to you in a no BS fitness prescription way.
It's unhinged. You forgot that.
Unhinged. Sorry. Meaning, don't really give a damn.
Last thing I wanted to talk about. I posted this the other day. Cardio before or after strength training, and I'm bringing this up because I think the true answer goes back to whether or not you have dialed in the basics. I think there's a lot of talk about, oh, do cardio before if your goal is to improve your vascular endurance, right? But do it after if you're focusing on getting stronger, which technically, if you read the textbook, that's the right answer. But if you haven't already honed in on the basics of like getting enough movement in during the day or hitting all your muscle groups twice a week, I think it's more important for you to do things in a way that's going to allow you to get everything in. If you know that when you go to the gym and you finish your lift, you're not doing your cardio, either do it on another day or do it beforehand. Just be smart about the type of cardio you're doing. And I think people just view cardio as doing an activity that makes them out of breath, makes them feel like they're going to faint, makes them feel like they are doing the hardest activity ever. And that's not necessarily what cardio is. Yes, that's a form of cardio, but there's different types of cardio that you can do. So if you're just smart about the type of activity you do and how you program things, I think you can make either work. You just want to get both in at some point. And I think that's the nuance that's left out of a lot of these things, because you see it all the time. People are asking questions and then people are just spitting a textbook back to people as an answer.
Or they're chat GPT in it, and then they want to sound smart because it's so many people. Oh, well, I do this and I do that. Nobody fucking cares what you do. Nobody really does care what you do. I'm asking you the question. I didn't ask you what you do. But like you said, unless you're an athlete, right? Meaning, I know we're using that term so loosely these days. Unless you're training for a competition or something within the next 6 months, you're a general population person, That's my thought process. I don't think you're an athlete. You just did a DECA.
I'm
so
not
you compete. Did you train for it? You trained, right?
No, I ain't trained for it. I train like an athlete sometimes. I'm not an athlete anymore though. I just was being a asshole.
I feel you. But it's like I'm saying that in correlation to say, like, unless you're an athlete training for something, right? It doesn't really matter if you're doing your cardio before and after. Just get it done. Now, if you're saying you have a specific goal in a certain amount of time, then we can look at where we're putting it, how much, and why. But for everybody else, just do the work.
I think just do it and be smart about what you do. Because you say that, and then people go and do sprints or do a crazy run before they about to lift heavy. Like, I would just do some form of like low intensity exercise if you're gonna do it before like your lower body day. But I agree, get it in, but just be smart about how you get it in.
Yeah, and we can dive in later, different types of conditioning, different types of cardio, what goes where and why, and things like that. Right? If you're an endurance runner, for the most part, you're gonna run or do your conditioning work beforehand, right? Because you want to work that energy system first, right? So there's layers to that. We can do a whole podcast just on energy system training.
Yeah.
Hopefully that'll help some people. But other than that, just get moving, move more, feel better, have fun while you do it. Stop comparing yourself to everybody else. You know? Doesn't really matter what you do. Like, nobody cares that you get up at 5 a.m. to do an hour on the Stairmaster, and then you go home and sit on your butt. You're still sedentary. I mean, it gets because people act like they're holier than thou. Oh, I did an hour on the Stairmaster. All right, and
I fucking hate the Stairmaster. The Stairmaster is not seeing me.
I'm a little different.
I hate the Stairmaster. Put me on an assault bike.
But see, I like.
I'd rather run sprints than be on the
I like the assault bike though. I don't mind getting on there and torturing myself because I know that that's one of the best pieces of equipment and the rower that you can use.
I love it
for total body conditioning. The Stairmaster I use just because I'm not going to run all those miles, but I can get that same effect. But I'll go sprint all day long, but it takes me a good 30 minutes to warm up to sprint these days. So, man, I've already look. After popping one Achilles, you always are sitting there thinking like,
"Oh, you popped Achilles before?"
I tore my left one completely. Sprinting.
On a treadmill?
No, on a track.
Oh shit, that's crazy.
I can send you the. I filmed it and I got the video.
What did it feel like? Somebody shot you? That's what people said.
So at first, I was on a football field and I was wearing. It was my last sprint. I think I did 2 sled resistant sprints, but it was those Nike bag sleds that you put with sand in them, those old school ones. Well, it was that. So what I thought happened was, this is not funny, but it's funny. I thought the belt from the sled broke. Right? That's what I thought I had heard. So it's like I'm running, and when you cycle your leg through, I bring my leg through, and no lie, the way I had ran, I could see my tendon roll up my calf.
Yeah,
and the leg comes through on the cyclical phase, and I fell to the ground. I didn't feel anything. I tried to move, and I was like, shit, I can't feel below my knee. Like, where's my leg? That's what it felt like. So mind you, I'm in a field. Because I had the keys to the locker room. So I worked out in the locker room, came out, ran on the field. Nobody's out there. Luckily, one of my clients is out on the jog, and he runs by me. And he's like, I know that look, you tore I have it on video. He's like, you tore your shit. And I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to get up. I tried to get up, and it was just like, if that's what it felt like, huh?
You didn't walk like Kobe?
Look, I rolled over. I texted my ex-wife at the time. I thought I had said some stuff to her, but then later when I looked at the text message, it was all gibberish because it was the shock. So I literally like got up and I couldn't feel the bottom of my leg. So I don't ask me how I did it, but I got in the car. Luckily, right leg was good, and I drove home. And I was like, once I realized, once the shock wore off, was when I had I ran in the house. Don't know why I even got in the house, got out the car, because I was like, yo, we got to go to the ER. I'm walking back out of the garage, and my dumb ass slipped. So my foot hit the ground. And when my foot hit the ground, when I say tears came down my eyes, how painful that was, like that was when I knew it was bad. Because that was a different type of, like, everything was hot. It was like my leg was on fire.
That sucks.
That's
the injury that I never want to have. I'd rather tear my ACL.
I never thought I would have it. I've sprained my ankles all through sports. I never thought I was tearing an Achilles.
I mean, nobody thinks that.
I'm talking about, it was horrible. Horrible. And then I look at people, huh?
What was the rehab like? What was your rehab process like?
Went to physical therapy. I think I was in physical therapy for like 5 months. So the downfall of mine is my physical therapist told me at the end, and I went to a specific therapist he worked with pro roller derby athletes. So he was very good with the foot. His final synopsis was that I should let them go back in and retighten it. Oh. This was right after therapy, because I had too much range of motion already.
Yeah. So like that. I
wasn't going through that pain again. Like when those, look, I don't remember if it was Percocet or whatever, but whenever the pain meds wore off, nah, never again. Like, have you heard of like the phantom leg? Like, you know, when people get like their legs amputated?
Phantom leg pain.
What? Nah, I was like, because I thought about it. I was like, man, maybe I should let them go back in. They could easily do it. I was like, nah, that was no. So if I don't think about it, I'll sometimes walk with a slight limp, and I do deal with more back pain now than I had prior. And I still can't do a single leg calf raise. I can do double, but I can't do single. Huh?
How are you sprinting?
I just loaded. I can't do a single leg. I don't know. I'd have to video it and show it to you and all of that.
I am so intrigued. That's crazy.
I
feel like if you have too much range of motion early on, like that's a red flag.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure I compensate, because the hard part is now, like, my right ankle, I don't have as much. It's like feels like my talus is locked. But my left one, because it was reconstructed, I can move it all day. You know what I'm saying? But it don't work how it should work.
Yeah.
You know?
I would love to sprint.
Huh?
I would love to see you sprint now that you say that.
I mean, if I look at it, if I probably do compensate one side to the other. Yeah. But I haven't really broken sprinting down. But that's something that I want to get more into. But it's like, I don't sprint enough out of fear of doing something to it. You know what I mean? Like, like running a 5K and distance and little stuff like that, that's not the same as sprinting.
No.
You know, but it's something that I want to try and get into, but there's still that fear. You know, because even days where I do too much Stairmaster, when I feel that little calf tighten up, nope. So I got some videos. I got like the surgery.
We'll break it down.
I got all of that.
That'll be fun. No, seriously, that'll be fun.
You're going to see the video and laugh because everybody else did.
I am going to laugh. I laugh at everything. I laugh, but I'm serious. Not really.
No, I feel you.
All right.
What else you got?
Nothing. I think that was it.
Okay.
Unless you want to ramble about something else.
We could talk about waist trainers and all that other stuff later.
How do you spell waist trainers? I'm gonna tell you how I spell it.
You're about to get me in trouble today.
STE, waist.
I feel
Waist
you.
trainer. Every time somebody comment waist trainers, I be like, waist. I spell it the way I did. And I put the little asterisk, and I'm like, you mean that?
But I feel like if we do that in defense, we got to have some bodybuilders on there that do use them in that reasoning and talk about the how and the why.
That's a different case.
How bodybuilders use them and how regular people are using them is two different things.
We should have some bodybuilders on here.
We could do that, definitely. I know a whole gang of them.
Me too.
Whole gang of them.
I think that'll be good though, because I think the way people phrase the question is more so like using a waist trainer to shrink their waist and melt fat off their waist or their belly, and that's not the use for it.
Right.
So I think they're like people who see bodybuilders or whoever using waist trainers in the way that they can be used. I think they're taking that concept and trying to apply it to something else, and that doesn't necessarily work. And I think that's where the nuance has to come in, and the context has to come in, so people actually understand why.
Because a lot of people putting them on, they putting them on,
and you putting on that saran wrap.
They don't even need to be putting them on yet.
Yeah.
I feel like even to put them on, you should be at a certain. I'm gonna be quiet.
All right. I think that could be another topic.
It is, but we gotta have some people that use them in that context to help with that dialogue, because they have a different and a better understanding of the what and the why. Because there's nothing wrong with using them when you're using them in that context.
Yeah.
But to use them and be thinking, oh, this is gonna get my waist smaller, is wrong. Especially if your body not small enough yet for your waist to be smaller.
That sounds so crazy.
I'm wrong?
No, it just sounds crazy. Your body not small enough for your waist to be smaller.
It's like the what's the little crescent roll box? You know how you make biscuits?
Mm-hmm.
You know how you twist the little thing and it pop?
Yeah, I'm scared to open those. I hate those. It's like popping balloons. I don't like that.
Come on now. It's a lot of people that do that and put them on, and that's how they be looking. You know?
You gotta be weird.
Huh?
You're funny.
I don't want nobody. I mean, at the end of the day, people can come for me. I don't care. I'm just here to help people with a no BS approach. I mean, if you want to wear a waist trainer, wear the waist. I'm not against it. I don't think it's necessary for what people are using it for. You know.
My thing with the waist trainers is that like people will wear a waist trainer and they'll do all the things to lose fat. They'll do calorie deficit. They'll track their calories and they'll successfully lose fat and their waist will get smaller, but then be like, oh, it was because of the waist trainer, and then totally ignore all the other things they did. And my response to that is, if you feel so strongly and you're such a proponent of the waist trainer, wear that waist trainer for the next 8 weeks, but don't exercise, don't track your calories, don't hit a protein goal, and let's see your waist. And then another 8 weeks, do the waist trainer and the calorie deficit and the exercise and the tracking, and then let's see your waist. Like, let's do a controlled experiment. Because people do these things and then they're like, oh, it's because of the waist trainer, but they're never disclosing what they actually have done. The same thing with like intermittent fasting. It's like, oh, I do intermittent fasting, and that's the reason why I lost weight. It's not because of a calorie deficit. The intermittent fasting puts you in a calorie deficit. That's
you were overeating.
Exactly. That's why intermittent fasting works, because it shrinks your window of eating. So you're technically going to eat less. Like
Same
you have
with
24 hours to eat. You're gonna eat more than if you only have 12 hours to eat. It's like a no-brainer.
Same with the BFR band. Like everybody, it's like you try to tell people why those were invented, and they tell you that you're wrong.
I use BFR every single day.
Huh?
I use BFR every single day, Monday
Why
to Friday.
Why do you use it?
Because it occludes a certain pressure of your blood flow, a certain percentage of your blood flow, and it makes your muscles work harder because you're not getting as much blood flow to that area. But in order to do it, you have to actually get your maximal level of occlusion. So you need like a sensor, or you need to do it with the Doppler to be able to assess your blood pressure. So if you're just putting a tight band around your leg, you're not going to have the right level of occlusion, because for the leg you need anywhere from 60 to 80%. Right? So if you're just putting a band around your leg, you're not going to know if you're at 60 to 80%. Also, the bands are not going to get that tight.
Right.
Like the bands that you see people in the gym wearing, they're not going to get tight enough to even induce the change that BFR is meant to.
You need like a what's the brand? Like a Katsu?
I use smart cuffs.
Okay, smart cuffs too, yeah.
And it connects to your phone. It's like the medical grade tourniquet, and you pump it up, you get 100%, and then you go from 60 to 80%. For my athletes, I do 80%. Like you're doing 80%. And they're like, "Oh, can I get a pressure break?" We're like, "All right, we can decrease it." But you should see color change. Your leg should change color when you do it. You should feel like tingly, kind of like if you fell asleep on your arm and you wake up and your hand is numb. That's the feeling you should feel. And most of the bands that you're using in the gym, they cannot give you that level of occlusion. So you're basically wasting your time.
Plus, you get all the people, they're wearing them. They're wearing them on their legs for their glutes, but yet they're doing upper body day. Like, take them bitches off.
Yeah, and then also you want a specific rep scheme as well, because the whole point of blood flow restriction training is really meant for people who can't tolerate load. Like, it's not superior to loading your muscles. So if you can go and do a set of 10 and get close to failure, there's no point in putting a blood flow restriction band on. It's more so for the people who are non-weight bearing. They can't tolerate load. They maybe have precautions. Like I use a lot with ACL or meniscus repairs, and you can't load them up. So you have to figure out another way to get a strength adaptation. So the rep scheme is you do 30 consecutive reps, you take a 30-second break, and then you do a set of 15, you take a break, and then you do 2 more sets of 15. So it's an accumulation of 75 reps. So instead of adjusting the load, you're manipulating the volume. So you're getting a ton more reps.
Right.
But it's under an environment that is metabolically similar to when you would do like a heavy resistance training. So if you took, like, say if you have BFR on and you took your like a blood sample, and you looked at it, and then you did another day you did a heavy strength training session, like typical, like say 5x5, close to 100% of your maximal effort, your blood is going to be the same because the environment is the same. Your body doesn't know whether you're lifting heavy or not. Right. So that's the goal, but people aren't achieving that with the bands that you see because it doesn't get tight enough. And then also it's a risk for you to tighten up something, a tourniquet around your leg, and you don't know how much blood flow you're occluding. You should not be working out with 100% occlusion, but also there's very few things that are going to get that tight. Right. So that's the thing that people don't realize. So I see that happening in the gym all the time, but I don't give people unsolicited advice.
I stopped
doing
that.
So if you want to do that, go ahead. But I mean, it's no harm, no foul. Like, you're not doing anything. You're not harming yourself, but you're also not benefiting anything. So I love BFR. It's hard.
I've only done it technically like the real way, like twice. Like I did it I did it when I tore my Achilles back then, but that was in physical therapy. I thought of getting some so I could, but
you should. Yeah, it'll be helpful because you should build up to that single leg calf raise. But I did it with knee extension with like 10 pounds.
Yeah.
So I did it with like,
I did it with, you know what voodoo floss is, right?
No.
It's like the elastic band that they use for like compression work and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I've done it with leg extensions where I use that, but not the actual cuffs.
So you just like made it really tight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
with
it
leg
feels
extensions.
I did it with leg press.
Yeah.
I did it with because at work they was like, in order to even use BFR, you got to go through like the competency. So you have to pass the test, all that stuff, and then they make you actually do it. So we did knee extensions, prone hamstring curls,
Ooh.
double leg press. These are all 75 reps, by the way. Double leg press, single leg press, and eccentric leg press. My legit, my quad. I felt like my quad was gonna burst. It was crazy, but it's pretty cool though. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
No,
I try to use it with all of my patients, but then you have some people who are just like, you're gonna occlude some of my blood flow and have me work out. I'm not doing that. So, I'm like, whatever. But I always say, like, rehab and strength training has been going on forever without it. It's not like you can't get results without it. It's just a good tool to have.
Right. Definitely.
So that's how I frame it.
Okay.
But I think it's helpful.
I definitely agree.
So they're expensive though, very expensive. I think like the upper extremity and the lower extremity cuff is like $800.
Yeah.
The smart cuffs, crazy, insane. But I think it's cool.
All right, what we got in closing for episode 1?
What you mean?
Any other things you want to go over, or?
Nah, I'm hungry.
Okay. Again?
I didn't get to finish my salad.
No, I felt it.
All
right, yeah. I think this was great, you know.
Yep.
And then we'll get some topics for the next one for sure.
If you guys have any topics you want us to cover, or if you have any questions you would like us to cover going forward, just drop them in the comments. I'm gonna keep a running list, so we hit them. And this will be on all streaming platforms and YouTube. The YouTube
we definitely will be going into the holiday. Remember, you were talking about the holiday stuff. So we'll definitely get you guys some information on how to survive the holidays, as far as doing your workouts, traveling, what to eat, what I'm not gonna say what not to eat, but it's because it's the holidays. How to minimize the weight gain and the lack or loss of exercise. We're gonna go into all that for you guys, all right, and give you guys a clear-cut path, you know, to your success.
I'm eating everything. And it's my birthday. I'm eating everything, so
I don't blame you.
Yeah, I always do. I just did have hard workouts, put my calories to use, and that'd be good.
Yep.
Hit my steps.
That's it.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll get into that. All right.
Right.
With that being said, we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.
Peace out.